Good morning. I beg you, please share this video. I really don't care about the numbers. But for black people, for black women, I need you to hear this if you don't hear nothing else in your damn life. Sister, if you are giving birth to a child, if you plan on giving birth to a child, I need you to listen to me. Sisters, I need you to listen to me like you ain't listened to a black man before. Don't you take your ass to a hospital that you done asked 1,000 questions before you stepped your ass in there. Do you hear me, sister? I worked in the ICU the other night. I'm normally a trauma medic in the emergency room, but I picked up a shift in the ICU. And we immediately got a sister in there who had an emergency C-section, and she had internal bleeding, hemorrhaging. Now the baby was taken out and the sister was brought up to the ICU and critical care. Critical condition. We could not figure out where she was bleeding from, and we were trying to keep this sister alive. I turned to the doctor at some point, doctor that does not look like us, and I say, doctor, can you come take a look at her stomach? It's getting really distended, and her BP, her blood pressure is not going down. That doctor looked at me and said, that's my patient. I'll be over there in a minute. 2 hours later, after this sister coded on that table 2 times and we had to get her back, we finally get her down to the operating room. And yeah, that hemorrhage that they thought they controlled with that emergency C-section was not controlled. She was still having internal bleeding, which was killing her. Black people, I need you to hear me. If you can take your black ass to Target, if you can go to Walmart, if you can buy and spend and do for all these corporations that don't give a damn about you, your black ass, your black community, your black race, you can ask questions for that black baby. I don't care if you think you're annoying, the doctor think you're annoying, the hospital think you're annoying. I don't care if God himself.
All right, Shalom. This is a brother Nahaliah from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit, Kodash is holy, Akyam is brothers, Akwath is sisters, Shalom means peace, and Yasher Allah is Israel in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. All right, I want to go into a lesson inspired by the video that you just saw before this this lesson. All right, and ignoring the fact that, you know, Jake don't have a beard and all of the different things that we know are off, you know, the message itself points to something that is really at the core of what the Lord has instructed the prophets to tell our people. You know, that ultimately this is not our rest, that ultimately we were here for a temporary situation, but that we would not be here for long. And the reason I say that first and foremost is because when you don't control your institutions, all right, when the children that you have are delivered by another nation of people, all right, you're not in your rest. You're not a sovereign nation of people. All right. And this is just one example of one institution that we have no control over. All right. Because he's telling, you know, Jake women. All right. And Jake is short for Jacob. You know, he's telling our women basically to ask 1,000 questions. But again, he's telling them to do something that ultimately they shouldn't have to do. But it all goes back to the curses. All right. So bear with me. I want to bring out, you know, the staple, you know, one of the staple precepts for this this video that we just saw. It's Deuteronomy 28:48, and it reads, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things." All right, no exception. So every industry that our people have need in, all right, is controlled by another nation of people. You know, I'm not sure if this guy was a nurse. You know, I'm assuming that he was a nurse. But basically, he has first account knowledge. All right. He's a witness to the fact that they're not in control, because we're not in control of our industries. All right. Matter of fact, the people that are over you hate you. When you mix that combination together, you find out why so many Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans stay away from the medical industry. All right. Because, again, there's a long history of abuse and misuse and exploitation. When they talk about the gynecologist, if you look it up, all right, the gynecologist practice, if you will, all right, was based off of the experiments that they did on so-called black women, all right, with no anesthesia. While they were exploring the female anatomy, they were doing it on our women with no anesthesia. And when you look at the medical industry, it's just like every other industry. All right, banks, we have to go to them for the one of all things. Jake want to start up an ice cream shop or something of that nature. You got to go to a nation of people that hate you. So what do? They don't tell you what's in your best interest. They tell you what's in their best interest. Because if they give you some high interest loan, they benefit from that. And this is why ultimately the Lord said that he will not suffer us to dwell in the land of Egypt any longer. 2/3 of our people, this is so ingrained in them that they don't even realize that there's a problem with this situation. Yet the Lord said this. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. All right, now people are perishing. And you have a lot of our people who are dead, but they're still alive. They're just waiting to go to the grave. They're dead to what's actually going on in the earth. All right, they think that it's supposed to be like this concerning our people, and it's not, man. The idea of your children making it, all right, being involved in sports or entertainment or having to go to some industry that's controlled by our enemies is a delusion, all right? It's a lack of vision. And because of that, our people perish daily, man. Playing this game, not realizing that this is a temporary situation. We were never meant to stay here, all right, indefinitely. This was always a point that the Lord was going to prove concerning chastening us for our disobedience. But when you look at the things that he was bringing out, all right, it points to a common denominator, all right, and ultimately that common denominator is that we're not in control of our systems as a nation of people, and that's because the Lord gave us to the robbers. Because what he didn't tell you in that video is that a lot of times, they benefit from donating the organs of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. So when a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American doesn't make it out of that hospital, all right, and it's not because it was just their time. It was because of negligence. Now, we know according to judgment, all right, the Lord don't make mistakes. But you have these situations of malpractice where you have doctors who are negligent. All right. And those moments, all right, are capitalized on by them donating the organs of our people. When you have to go to your enemy for the one of all things, our people don't really understand how detrimental that is to us as a people. And it's all of that supposed to make us recognize the anger of the Lord, because it doesn't have to be like this. And that's why the Lord's going to change it. Man, let's go there, man. All right, because when I saw that video, again, it just reminds you that this isn't our rest, but it points to something. It points to how this is the good news, right? Because we shouldn't even have to go through that. You shouldn't even have to ask 1,000 questions. You shouldn't even be in a delivery room and you worry. You shouldn't even have to go through that. That shouldn't even be the normal. But because we disobeyed the Lord gave us over to this. All right, let's go here. You think about all the other nations. All these other nations got control of their industries. All right, you think about the Iranians. Ain't no Edomite in their banks. Now, the World Bank controls them. But as far as their local institutions, all of the people that's in charge look like them. Now, ultimately, Esau's in control. But as far as their children, they can have their children delivered by people that look like them. It's unnatural as a nation of people to have another nation of people in control of everything, including health. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31. And verse 17, then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come upon us, because our power is not among us. That's the conclusion we're supposed to reach. But only a remnant of our people are going to reach that conclusion. Because Jake is telling, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to ask 1,000 questions and, know the doctor that all of that is evil. You shouldn't even have to go through that, man. And it's a reflection of those who are in rulership, and it's a reflection of our position in the earth. Because it shouldn't be this way. And the Lord did this intentionally so that we would come to the conclusion of why is it like this? The kingdom of heaven is bigger than us just having women and children. It's peace on earth, righteousness on earth, righteousness being able to flourish, not just for us as a nation, but for creation as a whole. Because truth be told, no nation shall have to go through that. Save Esau Edom, man, who's the perpetuator of it. That's why the scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, people are going to rejoice, because they're not going to have industries where we're trying to prey on them, where we're trying to exploit them. We're not going to have a medical industry in the kingdom of heaven where we benefit from them dying because we get to harvest their organs. That's madness, man. Or because you don't like somebody, you don't give them proper treatment. The Lord gave us the rundown, man. No respect of persons. All right. Deal justly with equity. There's an order, us as a nation of people are going to be above all nations. But the industries that are going to come from the kingdom of heaven are not going to be corrupted, man. That's a vexation, man, to see corrupted industries that people need to survive, man. And who's in control of it? The same one that's destroying the earth, man. And when you look at this guy try to say certain things, it's like, that's why Proverbs 29 and 18 reigns true. It's like when the people don't have no vision, they perish, because he think that video is going to put a dent in this operation, but it's not. The reality is that we need rest, and this is not our rest. The Lord said he's not going to suffer us to dwell in Egypt, because the Lord is watching this, man. Contrary to popular belief, man, the Lord is watching all of the details, the things that we are aware of and the things we're not aware of. The Lord sees it. And that's why the Lord's going to come back with such vicious anger, man. Let's get that, man. Because after the kingdom of heaven is established, this type of operation is going to be an afterthought. People having their organs harvested. A health industry that's predicated on making money. Abusing people, man. The kingdom of heaven, the industries are going to be dealt out with equity, man. Even the heathens are going to have clean water in the kingdom of heaven, man. You got some nations that's not even, they don't even have the luxury of having clean water. Come on, man. This is Isaiah chapter 42 and 13. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. Because the Lord is watching all of this, man. The Lord is watching how Esau rocked. He's watching his thoughts, his intentions. When a Negro, Latino, or Native American walk into that hospital and a Edomite doctor look at him, the Lord know how that man think about that situation, about what he intends to do about it. The lack of sense of urgency. Scriptures call them physicians of no value, man. They present themselves as a solution, but ultimately they're the problem, man. And when they present a solution, it's really a way to exploit further. And this highlights 2 points. All right, that the wicked are in rulership, because industry shouldn't be shaped like this. They shouldn't be designed this way. And 2, that for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this is not your rest. When another nation of people that hate you control your institutions, you're done. And that's why the Lord's going to intervene. That's why the Lord said he's going to go forth as a mighty man. Because the Lord hates wicked judgment, the perversion of judgment. The Lord, man, let's get that, man. This is Psalms chapter 33 and verse 4. For the word of the Lord is right, and all his works are done in truth. He loveth righteousness and judgment. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord. So the Lord is watching the perversion of judgment, and he's going to respond to it with violence, because that's the language that the world speaks. Because you shouldn't have industries like this. You shouldn't have an abortion industry that they call Planned Parenthood. Try to put a nice slogan on an evil practice, man. The Lord said he will no longer suffer us to dwell in the land of Egypt, because we as a nation of people should not have another nation of people over us. Nothing is natural about that. And it shows that we're under those curses that the Lord told us about because of our disobedience. As it says in Deuteronomy 31st chapter, should not we say that all these evils came upon us because the Lord not with us? And at this point now, Esau's rulership has and is affecting the entire planet, man. To a point where the Lord's going to intervene with great violence. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah. And a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word. And to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.